What? Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Oh, YusefWateef back in the game. So everybody watching right now, if this is your first time, I have lots of different stuff we talk about, and it's all interesting with interesting people. So as they always tell you in the first few seconds, make sure you click the subscribe and the thumbs up button and share this somewhere, because that's how I get to meet amazing people. This channel has been growing huge. I had a couple of people waiting in the lobby. I apologize for being, 2 minutes behind schedule, 5 minutes behind schedule, but we're back in the game. And how do I do this? How do I introduce them? What is the enigma that is Laura, who I met in Shanghai, China? Well, let's start with China. Let's do it this way. We all know the end. Let's start at the beginning. How long were you in China? What brought you to China?
Oh, those are two very different questions, but let's start with the easiest one. I've lived in...
Can you answer those questions in Mandarin Chinese?
Oh, 为什么不好？我可以一点点，但是我不可以很多很多很多。哎呀，等一下。我住上海五年。Chinese people, I am so sorry, that was awful. And 我是英语老师，对啊，and 上海在里面，上海在里面5年和 I forgot the last question. Oh, what brought me there? That I can definitely not tell in Chinese. That is a long, drawn-out story full of romance, intrigue, suspense, murder. No murder. But anyways. So long version, short version. Politically correct version, or
we got time. Give us the dirty. What year did you start? And let's go from there. Let's get started. By the way, Raining Woman is one of the most awesome people. She has a great channel and she always pops by to say hello. Casper has been a staunch supporter. He brings some very interesting perspectives, and as always, BMT Black Male Talk, I want everybody to stop by his channel. These are some of my regular people. Okay. So let's do this. What was it like right before you went to China? Like, what made you say, hey, China's the place to go?
That story starts when I was in high school. A little bit, when I was in middle school. So middle school, I always wanted to go to Japan. I was one of those anime girls that watch Gundam Wing and Dragon Ball Z, and oh my gosh, Piccolo is so cute and Mufei is so amazing. Oh my gosh. So I wanted to go to Japan. I tried to teach myself Japanese. I watched animes. We did little fan fictions and whatnot. So when I went to college, when I went to Xavier University, they had the JET program, which allows you to go to Japan and teach for a semester. And I was like, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the JET program and teach in Japan. Yeah. Well, the saying goes, when you have plans, God kind of laughs at you. Right. So then Katrina happened and I had to go to Hampton University.
Hurricane Katrina hit your city?
It hit New Orleans, where Xavier is. That was my school. XU. So it hit and I was not able to go back to Xavier. So I went up to Hampton University, and I kind of forgot amid everything that was going on with FEMA and trying to get Xavier back up and running. And you're not going to this school, you're going to that school. I kind of forgot about it. I just kind of got into the grind of doing my work and getting through school. So a few years later, after I graduate, I have these 2 jobs that are kind of awesome. Like, one of them was really awesome, one of them was not awesome, so it's kind of awesome average. And I was looking on Craigslist of all things, because I totally trust Craigslist, totally credible source. And I found this post by Felicia Braveman, I remember that name because it was so cool, that said, hey, do you want to travel China? Be adventurous, and had all these little captions and whatnot. And then just like, in my head, I thought, well, China's close to Japan.
Whoa,
okay, let's do it.
That is insulting.
It's not insulting. It is geographically correct, and for an American, that is amazing. Like, that's close, I could just hop over, near there, just neighborhood. I could look over in the window, be like, hey, how you doing? Can I borrow some sugar? I found out that it was with the Disney English. It was with Disney English. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Disney. I want to be a Disney. Oh my gosh, I want to be a princess. Yes. And I applied, and it was legitimate. And 6 months later, because I applied in December, 6 months later, I was on a 16-hour flight to Shanghai, China. Boom.
Wait, how long was it from application to the time you were there?
About 6 months.
Wow. Okay. I guess some people. I was there in a matter of I was in Las Vegas, Nevada when I decided to go to Japan. And what year was that when you finally rocked up on the shores of Shanghai?
2012.
Wow. The world was different in 2012.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Very much so. No flying cars.
And so when you went to Shanghai, what was your Mandarin Chinese level?
Oh, that story. So I live in Texas. So there are hundreds of thousands of people that come here that have a little trouble with English. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to go to live in a different country, I'm going to learn their language. And so I studied. I had note cards. I had little apps on my computer that was teaching me Chinese. And I was like, yeah, 我可以加油. As soon as I drop into in China, I'm like, that's right. I'm going to speak Chinese. I'm not going to be one of these foreigners who don't know how to speak. I'm going to speak it. I'm going to be awesome. Woo. And I was like, ni hao. And they were like, ting budong, which means I don't know or I don't understand. And I'm like, no, I speak Chinese. You will understand me. Ni hao. And I'm just going on and on. And they're just like, 我不知道. Just not my Hong Kong. 我不知道. 听不懂, 听不懂, 听不懂. And I got so frustrated. This was like after a week of me trying fervently to speak Chinese, after like maybe not a week or so, because I tried. After 6 months of learning, after 2 weeks of just like trying, and everybody saying, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. I don't understand. I was just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I ain't speaking no more Chinese. So for a year, a full year, I was like, you know what? If you're not going to understand me, then you're not going to understand me because I'm going to speak English. And that's what I did. For
that probably worked out real well in your favor, not.
No, not really. But Capricorn, I am a bit stubborn. So that first year, I spoke no Chinese, and it was still kind of awesome. I learned the ni hao and how to count and like 我要这个, 我不要啦, 我不要啦, 我不要啦. I don't want spice in my rice because it is hot. And then after I met my one of my best co-teachers, her name was Sunny, and good Lord, I never learned her actual name. Which, funny, side digression, all the local teachers didn't know the actual Chinese names. They only knew them by their English names. So when I tried to call her by her Chinese names, they're like, who is that? Sunny. Oh, yeah, she's over there. Okay. So she taught me. And if I can digress just a little bit, if you're ever trying to learn a different language, make sure that you pick something that is so important to you, something that you're going to use all the time. Because as I was learning later, I kept on going to different schools, and they're like, okay, we're going to start you off as a beginner. You're going to learn how to say hi and greet people and, ask them how their day was. And I'm just like looking at them like, I really don't care about these other people. I don't really want to say, hi, how are you? I don't know you. I don't want to know you. I don't want you to put spice in my rice. I don't want you to put onions in my rice. So that's what I wanted to learn. And it was so frustrating. But my co-teacher, Sunny, I was like, Sunny, can you teach me Chinese? And she's like, yes. She taught me 5 words, which was potato, which were potato, beef, rice, noodles, and broccoli. She taught me how to write them. She taught me how to say them. And with those 5 words, I was able to go into one of the Uyghur restaurants, the halal restaurants, the green and white ones, and order my favorite plate of.
Wait. Pause. Tell people who the Uyghurs are.
So Uyghurs are Chinese Muslims, which they exist and they're awesome and their food is amazing.
The Uyghurs now are undergoing some of the most brutal Chinese culling. The Chinese government is imprisoning them and slaughtering them off. And it has been something that very few news channels have been allowed to cover because it is something the United States has the United States has no moral authority to point out anyone else's flaws. So what ends up happening is the Chinese government will say, that's fine. If you want to talk about us, we'll talk about you. I encourage everybody to learn more about the plight of the Uyghur people. It's spelled Uyghur. And yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal what they're doing to those people. Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you introduce me to a Uyghur community restaurant street where they had the roasted lamb?
Oh yes, the food street. Ooh, dude, I forgot that taste. It's so good. Oh, amazing. Now you're gonna have to make me go to Chinatown and get some lamb. Yes, I will get lamb.
But here's the thing. If I saw it, I wouldn't get it anyplace else because it wouldn't taste exactly the same. You know, you can never go back.
True, but reclaiming the past in your mouth, which sounds very weird. I'm not going to say that again. Don't say that. But with those 5 words, I was able to order my favorite meal. And you know, the menus do not have any pictures. You have to read everything.
Right. There are no pictures at all.
None. Not even a picture of the stupid restaurant. Everything was in Chinese, but with those 5 words, because it was so important to me, I was able to learn. And it was just like, I'm going to learn Chinese. And from there, it was just like, I had her dying every day because I'd come in making a little song out of the 5 little words she taught me every Friday.
Do you remember when I thought you were about to get me killed in a restaurant one night?
What? No. What? No.
Oh, you don't remember, but I do. You had this little death trap scooter in China that it looked like it was being held together by tape and ambition.
Not okay? That was the second one that was held together by tape and ambition.
And you said, hey, I know this great local restaurant. We're going to go there and eat. So we sit down, and there were chopsticks there, and the guy picks them up and puts down a fork, knife, and a spoon. And you looked at him, you grabbed the silverware and threw it on the ground and started cussing him out, saying, how dare you believe that we don't know how to use chopsticks and we're uncivilized people. And I thought, this bitch is about to get me murdered. I'm going to have to fight my way here. And everybody turned and looked at you and started laughing. And the waiter was so embarrassed, and people just started laughing in the restaurant because they had no idea that you weren't just going to speak Chinese, that you were integrated on a level that said it was insulting that he didn't think you knew how to use chopsticks. And I remember thinking, like, to you, that might have been a day at the office. To me, I thought I was going to die. I was like, of all the stupid shit I've done, dying in a restaurant over some chopsticks. I really thought they were about to just come over and just straight up assault us and throw it out of the window.
That wasn't. But just apparently I black out whenever I go on my, bad bitch mode. Because I'm so sweet and bubbly now.
Hey, look what Snuggle said about it. Huh? Look what Snuggle said.
Snuggle.
Read what Snuggle said. With this stream, you're putting out move on to 6D. Thank you for the compliment. And hey, what's up, BK? Thank you. Thanks for popping by. But yeah, I remember just thinking, I was just so mad. I was just like, it was brutal.
Sorry, I felt it very important that they treated us the same. Like, give me chopsticks. I'm in China. This is what I require. This is your culture. I shall comply. So I think I've tempered since then. I'm not as vivacious and, fire breathing. I'm more bubbly and sweet.
Yeah, that was just brutal. But yeah, going back, so you started with the 5 words. Go ahead.
Yeah, and from there, it about a month and a half. But from there, she taught me 5 different words every week that I wanted to learn. And mostly it was food because Laura loves me some street food. And, I just wanted to make sure that, I actually found out when I was outside of the Shanghai city limits. I was in one of the smaller towns near the airport. And I actually found out, I was like, oh, what is that? Those round things. Oh, they're sheep testicles. So it was kind of important that I knew how to say, what is this? Oh, and understand what they're talking about. This is sheep, this is lamb, this is duck. Instead of, oh, hi, how are you? How would you like your food? I don't know. Yay, how are you?
Hey, Laura, read this. Read this, what BK said.
I have a story about chopsticks in Asia. I accidentally placed my chopsticks straight up in my rice while moving stuff. I had no idea how it looked. Oh, gomchi, gomchi, gomchi.
So tell
It's
them
okay.
why you all do chopsticks straight up.
Say that again?
Explain to the people watching why when you're in Asia with a bowl of rice, you never put your chopsticks straight up.
So it is a funeral ritual. They have a bowl where they put incense. It's supposed to look like incense when the person has passed on. They pray, they send them good wishes. And so when you put your chopsticks straight up, it looks like someone has died, which is why you don't write anybody's name in red either, because that's what they do when someone has died. They write their name in red, they put incense straight up, and that's why you shouldn't put your chopsticks straight up when you're eating rice. Put it to the side, put it on the table, put it in the little chopstick holder. Not put them straight up.
Yeah, just not straight up. That's, hey, the more you learn, right? That's one to grow on.
Yes. And hopefully you're in a place where people will stop and tell you about it and just won't give you like death stares like, what are they doing? Stupid Lawai.
Lawai is the word for foreigner. It's a derogatory term, I would say.
Yeah, not the nicest, but
it's what
we've claimed it, we've taken it, we've turned it, switched it, put it in the newspaper, I think.
And so was she your first and only teacher, or were you learning from other people?
I was learning from life. No, she was my only official teacher. I tried to go to different schools to learn, but I'm very specific with my learning. I know, because I am a teacher, I know how I learn. I know the best modes for me to learn. And if you offer me something that is not going to be conducive to me learning, I'm going to be like, deuces. So all the training centers that I went to, they wanted to teach me, hi, how are you? They wanted to teach me the alphabet. They wanted to teach me the tones, which actually would have been a good thing, but that will come later in the story. And I didn't want that. I wanted to learn how to write. That was the big thing. I wanted to learn how to write and read because it's important. I need to know if I need to go left or right, if I need to go over here, over there. And it's like, go the good way to the right or go to the child cemetery to the left. I need to know these things. I need to be able to read. And so all those training schools that I went to, they were like, oh, the beginners do not learn how to read. You could learn one-on-one. And it's like, I don't want to do one-on-one, because if I'm in a group, there's going to be a question that he's going to think of that would be like, oh, that's important to know. I always wanted to know what the other person was thinking to help me. And then, hey, I have someone I can practice with that I don't want. English, Chinese prostitution. No, I don't want that. I don't want to have to talk to someone and pay them. I could just, hey, you need to study? We need to study. Let's do it. But I can't do that by myself one-on-one. Now, hindsight being 2020, I know I could have gone on groups and gone meetups and stuff like that, but I was obstinate and stubborn and a Capricorn and an ox, which are two farm animals that are headstrong, and I'm just
And so what you got a class that you became part of?
No, I was just learning by myself on the street sounds, listening to my kids, listening to my, well, not kids, listening to my students, listening to my teachers, up things and trying to write. That was my main thing. I have tons of notebooks where I'm trying to write sentences. I was trying to write books, which I was trying to write a Chinese book of how to learn to read, which had my Chinese teachers dying laughing because they're like, this is stupid, Laura. And I was like, I don't care. I can read it. Yeah.
Well, hold on. BK had a quick question for you. Did you do any language exchange with locals? Not, besides the woman who was teaching you from your office.
I did. I tried. No, I didn't do a language exchange because I was already a teacher. I didn't want to be a teacher again. What I did is I did a little of iCoffee, which was where you pay a tutor, they come out, and I was like, all right, if I'm going to get a tutor, maybe we can go places and she can point me to things and be like, okay, 这是什么? Oh, 这是一个杯子，漂亮杯子。Or 这是什么? And it was like, and I could point out things, like, I could walk and talk and be like, actually touch something and commit it to memory. It's not just a word, it's not just a sound, it's a touch, it's a feeling, it's a sight. The more you engage your senses, the more you're going to remember. So I found someone on iCoffee, but after like a month together, she got a new job and we couldn't meet like we were going, like we're doing. No, sadness.
Wow.
So
I remember going shopping with you downtown at the garment district, and just walking through hundreds of stalls. And it was always amazing for them when you'd look at something and say, excuse me, how much is this shirt? And they'd say, oh, that shirt is, and then they would look at you and say, did you say that in Mandarin? And you say, yes. and then they like say that again and you say, well, how much is this shirt? And they'd be like, because one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, that's why I keep flashing this across the screen. Mandarin, and this is someone I've lived in 15 countries across 5 continents. Mandarin is one of the single hardest languages to learn in the world. It is savagely brutal. My Chinese friends told me that unless I was going to stay in China for more than 5 years, to not waste time. The classic example I give is one of my friends studied Mandarin for 5 years before he understood that he wasn't good at it.
Oh, poor baby doll.
That's the brutality of Mandarin. Like,
And that's the funny thing.
Yeah,
I hear everybody say that Mandarin's hard, Mandarin's brutal. Of Mandarin, it makes sense. So I like Mandarin because it makes more sense than Spanish. So me living in Texas, what?
Then you will not like Portuguese.
No, okay, I've picked up a little bit of Portuguese when I was doing capoeira. So I could sing in Portuguese, I could count in Portuguese. So I think I'd be able, it depends on the grammar. The reason that I love Chinese was because I understood the grammar. I was like, oh my gosh, this is nothing but bad ebonics or good ebonics or some type of ebonics. I got this. This is easy. What I didn't understand being in Shanghai, spoiled. Ooh, I was spoiled. So I'm pretty sure you had this lesson learned too. I learned quickly that it's not what you say, it's how loud you say it. Because there were many times when I would say things, I never said tones very well. You know, the ah, 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 ah. I just couldn't get it. But I realized that if someone
read that. Going out
with me a lot, but it gave me hell with Mandarin. It's still, yeah, yes. And I didn't know how much the tones were important until I left Shanghai, because very spoiled. I learned that it's the volume at what I say. Oh, I love the night markets. Oh, I miss them so much. Wyoming fan, and they're like, 听不懂. Wyoming. When I yelled at them, I was like, oh, okay, you want some rice? They're like, cool, give me my food. Thank you, deuces. Unfortunately, when I went high, they just didn't understand me. Like Shaman and Sanya, oh my gosh, like I almost gave up speaking Chinese because their Chinese is so eclectic to where and specific to where they live. Like they will change words and change tones. And if you don't know the specific tone, and I was just like, ni hao. And they were like, ni hao. Well, bitch, hi.
So an example that people ask me about, for example, in the United States, let's take someone from Louisiana or Texas, two states you've lived in extensively, and someone from Los Angeles and someone from New York. We have different accents, but we're using the same words, the same spellings. Whereas in China, and to a large extent Brazil, you can have the same, like I'm an eater. I learned coins and things from going to the markets. The same vegetable has a different name in the north or the south or the east or the west of the country. The same fruit has a different name.
As with China, I was asking my friends, apple.
Do you guys understand how to give a chess lesson you're bringing to the people? I like it, very uniquely. Thank you very much. Flattery will get you everywhere. Let's see the statements when it came to tonage. Yeah. So Snuggles, do you speak Mandarin? Oh, Laura, I don't know if you saw this. This is something she said earlier. Read that.
Thank you. The green tea and hot
Yo,
water.
believe it or not, the best thing that'll help you with is being in a band where music singing along with controlling your voice for tone. I can see how that might help with Chinese.
I actually did a lot of singing. Well, I was at Disney, I was at Disney English. So I did a lot of singing, and I would kill my co-teachers and students when I would see 你是我的小的小苹果. And so whenever I would break into song, they'd be like, oh my gosh, your Chinese is amazing. And I'm just like, no, it isn't, but thank you anyway. Yes. Kind of got.
And so moving through, you only worked with one company while you're out there, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No. I worked at Wall Street English as well.
Oh yeah, I remember I gave you a referral there, but I thought, let me think, was that the second, or you only worked because I remember Disney is one you were at the longest, right?
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. There we go. The Shanghai Kejiguan.
And by the way, for people who are listening, one of the things I tell everyone is that while you're still building your way to work abroad without having to make it expensive and build kind of an international side business, a lot of people don't know I have been developing my editing business for a while, is find a reputable program in a place like Japan, Shanghai, China, and go get certified as an English teacher and teach adults high school level English, which is not difficult to get a certification from. And it opens up a lot of doors for you. It really does, because you make a middle class living, no matter where you are. Matter of fact, hold on. Now that I mentioned it, I do this every time I have a discussion online. My career, most of what I do is editing, copy, writing a resume for people and clients, and I do editing books. If people have a book or a magazine article they need done in university level English, or a resume written from scratch, I urge everybody who's watching, go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, another social media that I use. I'm the same place everywhere. I go under my real name. But here's the thing I tell people to start with. My resume, impressive, blah, don't worry about that. what I want you to do is skip all the way down to my referrals. Go all the way down to the part where it says recommendations, because this is what other professionals say about me, my ability. These are the people who put their name on my level of professionalism and producing the things that I can say I can produce. So I tell people to link with me there, read those first, and then decide if I can help you. The one best thing you can do for the show is share this channel. I tell people to share it on their Facebook if possible, because if you have Facebook, this is how I get to meet new and interesting people. Share it on your Twitter. Click and share it on your Twitter. A big one, I tell people, share it on your Tinder account, because you can even put in the comment, hey, we both swiped on each other, so we're going to have fun, but what are we going to talk about after? This guy has some amazing discussion points. We should have talks like this. Yeah. And you're frozen in time.
Me?
No, you're back. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Oh, no. So can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
So I watched a couple
hold
of
on.
videos.
Your wait. Slow down for a second. For some reason, it seems like your internet is skipping. Let me make sure I don't have anything that's called. It's like you
Uh-oh.
Now try that again.
Oh, I just had a question.
Go ahead.
Well, I've watched a couple of your videos, but I'm seeing that people are saying something about chess. And, this one does not play chess. So what is this about? I want to know. What is it?
Snuggles, you're going to have to break that down for her, because this is, I'm not a chess person. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu person, which is called physical chess, but you got me. I don't get a lot of the references. But you're welcome to explain them to us, Snuggles 668.
You know what? I do eventually want to get into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I do. I'm thinking January, I might get my gi started out, roll on the floor. So much.
Well, find a couple of good gyms, and I say go to each one and just watch one class. Like, take 2 weeks and go to all the different gyms for one night and say, oh, I just want to watch an evening class. They usually start at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and just watch and find the one you feel comfortable at.
I've been to 3 so far, and I found one that I kind of like. It's right next to the Krav Maga class that I go to. So, I could go to a Krav Maga class, and then I could go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, and then when someone tries to put me in a head, put them down on the floor, then roll them over, and then start punching.
Okay, well, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we don't really do we don't do punching, but is this like, are you trying to be a superhero or something?
No, I've always had a violent streak, most teachers do, and I'm finally indulging in it. Oh, did you not know most teachers are either beer drinkers or horrible swearers or horrendously violent, but we just love kids and sparkles and stickers. Oh my God, we love stickers.
That's okay.
Tell me I'm lying.
So let's go back to China. What were the first things that really opened up to you in China? Like, what were the things that you missed the most that had the biggest impact on you?
What I missed the most? Cereal. I missed cereal.
I'm trying to remember that.
Okay.
Chinese cereal.
Okay, so I'm not a very observant person. It's all for me, the small things, the smallest things. Those are the things that get me. And it did not bother. This is going to sound horrendously racist, and I do apologize, but it's how I felt. It was just like, oh, I'm just another Black person in a sea of people that are not my kind. Meh, it doesn't bother me. So that didn't bother me. Not being able to read, that bothered me. Ooh, actually, that bothered me more. Yes, not being able to read and write, which was why I was so gung-ho on learning how to read and write, because I only had one breakdown when I was in China. I was 6 months into Disney English. I was walking back to the subway after a long day, and I stopped dead in my tracks. I look around like I just got hit, and I'm just looking around like, oh my gosh, I'm in China. I can't read. I'm an illiterate Black woman. Oh my gosh, I can't read. Oh, geez. Oh, my mom. I am in tears in the middle of a park. Just, Mom, I'm a statistic. Oh Lord, I can't read. My mom's like, oh my God, if you don't shut up. Laura, you can read. No, I can't. I can't read this building. I can't read the books. I can't read anything. She's like, Laura, you can read English, right? Yes. In English, right? Not illiterate. Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, bye. So that was my one big freak out. But cereal makes me think that was another time that I actually just kind of just like gave up in defeat, looking at the rows and rows of Chinese shampoo and not knowing what's gonna make my hair fall out. Which is perfectly fine. It's okay. Oh, I'm going to take a little bit more time. I'm going to tell you this story. So when I got to China, I had braids because I'm like, this, I don't know what type of, I don't know what they're going to do to my hair. I don't know. I don't want them touching my hair. No, I don't. No. So I had my hair in braids. I kept it for 4 months. And then it finally came time for me to take down my hair. And I was terrified. Oh my gosh. So I go to the store and I'm looking at shampoos, and there's just this whole huge aisle of shampoo, and I'm like, I don't know which one says shampoo and which one says conditioner. And I literally just stood there for like a good 10 minutes because for some reason they follow, the Chinese workers will follow you. They don't just follow us, they follow everybody in case they need help. No one was following me to help me, and I just stood there confused. And I'm like, okay. They had 3 different brands that I recognized. They had Pantene Pro V. Well, the problem with Pantene Pro V was that, and as you know, Pantene Pro V had just came out, well, not just came out, but had branded the bronze bottle for us. So I'm like, no, that's for white folks' hair. I don't know.
Did you just say, as you know, realizing I have had a smooth head since I was 14, as you know?
Well, yeah, but you gotta, I'm pretty sure you know a little bit about the ladies, you know.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot, but none of them involve. Continue. You got the white bottle.
So no, I didn't get the white bottle. So what happened is that I was like, no, that's not for me. I need the bronze bottle. And then I go to the Garnier Fructis. And back in college, I tried Garnier Fructis. It made my hair fall out. I was like, no, green bottle, stay away. And then they had Dove. And I was like, Dove makes deodorant. Do they make shampoo? And I got the Dove bottle because the other 2 were just like, no, okay, you got to go with this one. And they had the shampoo and the conditioner bottle in the box. So I got that. I take my hair out, and as most Black women know, when you put water and our hair together, it is just a mass of tangles, and just it does not go. It does not go anywhere. It just stays there. And so I'm washing my hair, and all of a sudden, from 4 months of not combing my hair and having my hair in braids, my fingers run through my hair. I freak out, like, oh my God, my hair's falling out. I look at my hands like, there's nothing. Okay. I do it again. And I do it again. I'm like, oh, I can comb through my hair. What? This is amazing. Mom, you got to try this Dove. You can run your fingers through your hair. And she's like, no, you can't. I'm like, yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. You can't. Yes, you can. She did it. She's like, Laura, I can run my fingers through my hair. I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So I just went strictly with Dove from then, because it was just like, oh my gosh, this is something I did not know. Why haven't Dove marketed to Black folks? You know how much we take care of our hair. Call me for that commercial.
Well, that's going to be a different conversation we can have on what's marketed to who and why. Check this out. You said something earlier about being followed around the store because they follow people to help them, not because of what color or race they are. But here's interesting. He says, when I was in Taiwan, people were really nice and interested in taking pictures with a large Black American. Good times with good people. I remember walking around in Shanghai and people would put their baby in my hand and take a. I'm like, I don't know you. Why are you giving me your child? It would be hilarious. But here's something I want to address. Right now, there's a Black person watching this, and they're terrified to go anywhere or do anything. I don't even want to take China as an example. What I want to explain to you, if you are Black and American, there's no place you're going to go, any place in the world, worse than where you're living right now. You will find everywhere else in the world you go, they love Black people. But most of America doesn't ever want you to find that out. Now, to be fair, most Black people don't know that. But those of us who do get to get out, see the world, we find out very, very quickly, oh, wait a minute, it really is an amazing world we live in, and being Black is kind of awesome. But there's no profit to be made in convincing you to give yourself the opportunity to go out and see the world. But even if you go to a country where, excuse me, even if you go to a country where they treat you the same as you are being treated in the United States, what have you really lost? That's the thing. Matter of fact, I've got stuff I'm going to share with everybody, and I hope to come back to it this hour.
I can't tell you how many times people have taken pictures. Beyonce. Oh, yes, I am Beyonce. Yes, thank you. I am Black famous in China. It's gotten so many pictures with different people. Like, oh my gosh, do you know Obama? He's, you know, how you doing?
Yeah, you're like,
no.
Yeah, we just had lunch the other day.
right.
But what I was showing you, exactly, there's a playlist that I put together that it's called, where is it? I can't find. It's called Expat Life, and it's a playlist that has a lot of stuff about what it's like traveling the world and seeing different things. And it's called International Expat Life. Do you see that on your screen?
Coming. But yes.
If you click on that, it's got a bunch of different little videos that I put together on different things. Part of it is on Brazil. The big ones are How to Leave America 202, How to Leave America 101. It's got stuff in there about Carnival. It just talks about what it's like, and I hope everybody gets a chance to scroll through those. But yeah, it's one of those. Oh, look at that. Old lady's got her phone. Here's the interesting part that people don't realize about China, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. There are Chinese people who will have never seen anyone who's not Chinese in their life. We tend to forget that it's 1/3 of the world's population. 1/3 of the world's population. Most Chinese people will never see anyone in their life that's not Chinese. It's not a diverse place. Thanks, BK. He said, also, you speak well and clear, so tons of people in Asia will flock to you. Remember, the stuff that people on TV does not truly show Black Americans correctly to the rest of the world. You know, I'm going to have to do a talk about that, because we often talk about I'm not that kind of Black person, but I want to give people examples of the kind of Black people that my friends and I are, because contrary to popular belief, we're not a monolith. We're not all the same. You know?
Just like,
and that's something a lot of people, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Rainy Woman likes your hair.
Well, they do call me Rainbow.
Oh, here we go. So in China, you know, what were the biggest adjustments for you?
Reading. That was
I meant social. You went over how reading is, you know, fundamental, but socially, what were the adjustments?
Socially, again, that I'd have to think about that, because again, I just took it as a as me being different from everybody else. I've always been different from everybody else. So it didn't really bother me. The only thing I can really think of that took me a long time to get over was people following you in different stores. Like, I had encountered racism in America, but it never really hit me as racism, like racism. No, it never did. So when I got to China, I thought, what are they doing? Are they following me because I'm Black? Are you following me because I'm Black? Because that's what they do in stores. They try to help you. Socially, you know, this is the thing about China. This is the thing, and it goes back to Chinese. China is very that goes more than just knowing people and putting the best foot forward. Everything is about face, how you are presented, or what you say, or what can be misconstrued. Because when I was learning Chinese, everybody would say, oh my gosh, your Chinese is so great, your Chinese is so wonderful. But when I went to a different city and they didn't understand me, I was like, well, were they not telling me to feel good? Or do they have something wrong with their ears because I'm awesome? And so that's kind of the same thing that I went through socially. You know, I go back to my Chinese teachers because that's the biggest part was at the Learning Center for Disney English. I remember I was with them for 3 years, and 2 years and a half, I remember my lead teacher, the lead Chinese teacher, coming to me and saying, oh, we came to teach at our center. And I was like, oh, I'm happy to be here too. And she's like, yeah, at first when you came, all the people were scared of you, but now they love you. You're Black. And she just said this with this big, huge grin. And I'm just like, this was never presented to me because it's all about face. We love you. You're awesome. You're amazing. But we're actually scared of you.
Well, this is where it comes to kind of remember that for so many of us, we don't get to define our own terms. When you leave the United States, you find people that are genuinely surprised when the message that white America has given them about anyone who's not white, this is not exclusive to Black people, the message that white America gives the rest of the world on Mexicans or immigrants is so demeaning that everyone's like, oh my goodness, they're going to kill. And then when they meet you, they're like, wait a minute. This isn't what I was told. One of the most interesting things about Asia and racism is one of the things a lot of people don't realize that when you do encounter racism in Asia, they don't not like you because you're Black. They don't like you because you're not one of them. Mm-hmm. They will dislike another Asian person the same way because, like, if you're not Japanese, you don't count in their opinion. If you're not Chinese, you don't count. If you're not Taiwanese, so it's not directed at you and your race. They're like, no. You're either on our team or you're not.
Exactly. Like, it was funny that you said against their own people, because when I told my friends, when I told my friends that I wanted to do a train trip around China, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go to Xinjiang. I wanted to go to Xinjiang because where people are located, mainly because that's Turkey and China and put together. You got Uighurs. And I wanted to go there because it's just like, oh my gosh, I've heard so many great places, so many great things about this. It seems so interesting. And my lead teacher was like, no. You can't go there. I'm like, why? They will kill you. And I'm just like, they will kill you, but they won't kill good. And I went there and it was just an amazing place. It was so nice. And it was just like, no, that was your perception. That's not my reality. My reality is they're fantastic. I can't listen to you. I got to do what I. And if your creed is credible, sure, I will take it to a consideration. But until I learn for myself, juices, I got to go and try. And everything's about face.
Well, what's interesting is what you just said is a message that I give so much. Like, I have plenty of white friends who are just friends of mine, but there's always an awkward moment when they realize places they've been told they can't go because of political violence and racism don't have any problems at all with Black people, because they're like, no, they hate Americans in that country. And you realize No, no, I'm pretty sure they don't hate me. I'm pretty sure Laura, we could go travel the world and be just fine. And it's awkward to them because until they leave America, they're not aware that their standing in America isn't their standing in the world. No one has ever looked at a Black American and said, you look like the face of imperialism. Doesn't happen. And that's an awkward thing. Say, oh, don't go here. Or you just met those guys. Why would you go to a barbecue at their house? They said they're having a barbecue at their mother's house, but they might kidnap you. Who's ever made any money kidnapping a random Black person, first of all? Okay. And second of all, who looks like me has ever done anything to anyone who looks like them? And that's when they kind of get in that awkward situation where I'm like, so do you understand why I'm going to go have barbecue with them and their family?
You kind of hit the nail on the head. Ding, ding, ding. Give the man a cookie. It's true. I mean, every time when I was about to go to China, my friends were supportive, but my mom's friends, they were like, oh my gosh, how are you going to let her go to China? Oh my gosh, you can't do that. It's dangerous there. And I'm just like, no, it's not. That's what you think because of whatever you've been listening to. And especially when I got there, it's just like, that's not true for me. Like, it's amazing. It's what we've been told and what we find out. You got to go outside so that you can see outside of your little house to see how raggedy your house is. The inside you might think is amazing, but when you get the outside and you look at the neighborhood and you realize yours is the one with the windows falling down, you're like, maybe my house is not that big.
Amen. That's a brilliant thing. So you're in Texas now. Where do you want to go next internationally?
Japan. I want to go to 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 the International Cherry Blossom Festival, and then I want to go to Thailand and learn Thai massage.
So if anyone watching this gets in contact with me, and I can put you in contact with anybody who's watching this from Thailand or Japan, let me know. And I'm going to connect you. I've got some friends behind the scenes I connect you to as well. Speaking of behind the scenes and whatnot, I know you're working on a special YouTube project, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And I was trying to get those uploaded. That did not work out very well. But so long story, short story.
Go for it.
Okay. So long story is that while I was working at Wall Street English, my friends were talking about our contracts were going to end soon. And we were talking about what we were going to do before we left China. You know, oh, I'm going to go here and I'm just going to see a few things and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, you know what? I want to do something that I've never heard of any other Black person doing, specifically a Black woman. Now, probably everybody and their mama has done, but it's just at that time I had never heard of it. I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and take a train trip around China for 2 months and just be a nomad, a literal nomad. And that was when I decided to go to different cities and whatnot, all around China, everywhere from Wuhan to Xiamen to Chengdu, Lesha, Turpan, Alashanko. I even got a chance to go to Kazakhstan, which has a lot of Chinese-looking people. It was weird.
Well, and then I always told you that you have all these life experiences that need to be shared. I'm looking for, and this is normally when I would pop up somebody else's YouTube page, but when you get it going, I want you to come back and chat with us again, and we can introduce people to Chinese adventures. So here we are. It's been long enough for me to be able to talk to you about a really difficult subject. And if I laugh, it's not because I don't love you, it's because it's far enough removed to be a learning lesson. Because I know people watching are like, is she online in jail? Laura's not in jail right now.
No, okay. No.
But Laura did do some time in China. Laura was behind that hard wall.
Oh, geez, that was not a good time in my life.
Tell us what leads up to you wearing those silver bracelets?
I was not handcuffed. Thank you very much. I did have to squat naked. That was not fun. But
They made you squat and cough?
huh?
They made you squat?
Yeah. You have to make
Ooh.
sure you're not holding anything, contraband and whatnot, what have you.
Ooh.
So, so this was back in the era of Obama, long may he reign. And they had just announced the 10-year visa. I was super excited. And I don't know what happened to my brain because while I was traveling around China for those 3 months, which is what my channel is going to be about for a time, going through each different city, I went to Kazakhstan because I had to get a renewal pass. I had to get a stamp on my passport so I could enter back. So I knew every month I had to go, I had to get a stamp to re-enter China so I'd be in compliance with the law. The second time I came back to China and started living in Sanya, I lost all cognitive ability. The place is beautiful and I got stupid. And I was thinking, oh, I got a 10-year visa. I got a 10-year visa, not a visa that has a duration of 10 years that I have to leave the country every month. No, I can just stay where I want for 10 years. So I'm living in Sanya, just living my life, eating mangoes, dancing with people, swimming, wearing bathing suits, and just having a ball. Loved Sanya. Oh my gosh, amazing place. I get back because I want to go to study massage in Thailand. So it's like, time to go. And I get back to Shanghai. I look at my passport. I'm like, everything should be fine because I'm able to fly. I'm thinking I'm able to fly wherever I want. If something was wrong with my visa, someone would have stopped me at the airport and be like, hey, no. I get to the hotel that I'm staying at and they will not admit me because my visa is expired. And I'm just like, no, I have the 10-year visa. They're like, no, you're stupid, go here. I freak out. And this is during the national holiday, Lantern Day. There you go, Lantern Festival. And so I try to go to the Bureau of Exit and Entering for Foreigners. They're closed. So I try to go to the airport because I'm like, I don't know if I can leave or not. I'm not sure. And I got pulled over, not pulled over, but they would not let me get on the airplane because my visa had expired. So I could not get a hotel. I ended up getting one of these hotels by the airport, which I talked about earlier about the sheep testicles, which is a very fun place to be. Very nice hotel, actually. And come Monday, I am in tears. I am WeChatting everybody. I don't know what to do. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. I go to the Exit and Entrance Bureau and I'm like, okay, I've looked at the laws. I need either $10,000 or they're going to put me in detention center. I get there, the guy looks at my passport, he hands me a piece of paper, which sends me to another place, which is the beginning of my detention. I got a good cop. He was scary as hell because one, I was in trouble, and he kept on yelling at me. He would be nice and sweet and talk about God, and then he would just start yelling at me and don't be stupid and no. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And so he's like, okay, here's what you're going to do. We cannot accept the fine. You are going to go to detention. And I'm silently crying inside. He's like, you got 2 days. Set your affairs in order. Come back on this day at this time. We'll keep on going. And so I put everything in my storage unit. I message people on WeChat. And on the assigned date, I go and they take me to a detention center, which was actually quite nice. Like Shanghai, if you're gonna royally fuck up, make sure that you do it in Shanghai.
You remember calling me?
Make sure that you follow the laws. Follow the laws and follow the extra laws that they don't tell you, but that you need to follow so you don't get to do what I did.
Do you remember calling me? Laura, do you remember when you called me?
Yes. I remember when I called everybody.
You called me, and I honestly thought something happened to your mom, and you were like, I'm gonna go to jail, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna lock me up. And I'm like, slow down, slow down, slow down. Last time I checked, you were not a criminal. And can't we fix this with a fine? And you said, no, they sent you home. And by the way, in China, the reason they sent her home, it's not like you can leave the country. It's not like they have freedom of movement. You can't buy a ticket if the government decides to put your name on a list. And I remember you called me, and I had to have you explain twice because it was hard for me to understand. I said, so you overstayed your visa, and they're locking you up? And you were like, yeah, I overstayed my visa, and now I'm going to have to go to jail. And I said, well, how long did they sentence you to?
5 days.
Did you get a tattoo while you were in there?
No, but I did make a deck of playing cards out of water and tissue paper.
So you learned how to make prison playing cards. Oh, geez. So here's the thing. Like, I remember when you I know you called the U.S. Embassy, and I think they told you that the only thing they could do was make sure you're treated fairly, but you still had to go. Mm-hmm. I just remember telling you that I had some cousins that had been locked up, and the one thing that they said is when you go in, keep your head down. You're doing a short amount of time. You're nobody's friend. You just, if somebody says, give me your cookie, you give them the cookie, you just make it out of there okay. Because, if I'm not in prison, you're definitely not in prison. And I didn't want to have to, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, this is either going to go really, really well or awful. Now, to be clear, getting locked up even for a day, listen, to anybody watching, don't ever do anything criminal in front of me, because if a policeman shows me a picture of the ham sandwich they serve in prison, that's enough to scare me.
Yeah, it's not something I want to replicate. It's not something that, be like, hey, remember that time? Yeah, let's reminisce.
So what was it like though when you after you had to squat and they inspected you? Oh, I hope somewhere there is a Chinese closed circuit TV that recorded that, and right now there's some Chinese cop sitting in his office and he just replays you squatting.
Oh no. There were no cameras in there, thankfully. Actually, the cop that took me in, he kept on saying that, it's like summer camp. It's like summer camp. And I'm just like, fuck you mean it's like summer camp? It's not like goddamn summer. It was a little bit like summer camp. It really was. There were bunk beds. There was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2. About 10 people in each different cell. And on the side, they have a toilet that has a low wall and a little opening. And they give you a big container where you keep like underwear, you keep pads, and any other things that you might gather during your time there. And actually, the detention center, I didn't actually go to jail. It was a detention center. And that's important because there was a lot of IEs. There was a lot of older women and a lot of ex who had overstayed their visa or who had no visa whatsoever. And they were trying to just get this done, or people who had infractions against whatever they were trying to tell me, but I didn't understand because my Chinese was not that great. They had exercise.
Did you have to pretend like you didn't speak any Chinese when you went in there, just so people would leave you alone?
Like I said, it was filled with older women and younger women. In America, we were so indoctrinated to violence. Every place that seems scary is seen scary. It was not. It was exactly like China is. China is a safe place. It is one of the safest places I've ever felt, like compared to America now. And even the detention center, I knew I was safe because the worst thing that they had in there was boredom. You weren't allowed to talk loudly. You weren't allowed to do anything. You just had to sit there. And actually, because I was American, they allowed me to sit on a stool instead of kneeling. because they're like, oh, you're American, you don't really, instead of having the little small stool that, the Asian squat.
Right.
They knew I couldn't do that, so they gave me an actual regular stool to sit in.
Hey, T. Kelly, you're right. Reigning woman, you're right. I tell people all the time, I got cousins that was criminals. And I told them, listen, don't ever criminal anything in front of me, because I'm telling you right now, I'm a square. Don't do anything in front of me, because I'm not getting locked up for anybody. I'm not built for that life.
Mm.
So they gave you a stool, told you to sit there and be quiet, and you felt safer in a Chinese prison than most places in America. Yeah. Yeah, I can see how that works out. And so you had to spend your time like, well, my question is, why were you making prison playing cards out of toilet paper? First of all, where'd you pick up that skill?
I thought of it. I've always wanted to be in production. Produce. I've always wanted to produce things and make things. I wanted to go into product design. So it wasn't that hard. I'm making it sound a lot more puffed up than it is. I just literally, because they don't give you tissue paper like we're used to. They give you the towels that you're used to wiping your hands with. That's what they give you. It's rough. It's rough on your natural reasons. But they gave me that. And I just took a spoon and some water and I started making different playing cards. So I would wet the inside of the card and tear out the little parts, and it was cards. And
Lord, arts and crafts prison yard.
DIY not.
You was in the hole making prison cards. Do you still write to your friends in prison?
No, I don't know their names. I could barely speak. There's only two people that I could speak to, and one girl, she was a au pair from Indonesia, and then another girl, I don't remember what she talked. Oh my God, she talked. But they moved her to a different cell, and then when she left, it's like I have no one to talk to. Now I'm sad because at least it was something.
You never know. If she was talking and they said to be silent, that cell she might have moved into might have been a waterboarding cell.
No. It wasn't. It's just no loud ruckus, no like laughing or like, oh my gosh, no excitement. I guess I should say that more so. And then my last day, there was another Black woman that was put into jail. Again, she had overstayed her visa, same as me, but by a significantly longer time. So
what was the food like? There, because I saw, hold on, let me show you something. I saw this, and this is a picture I thought about when we were having that conversation. Is this what food was like when they had you eating?
not like that. That actually looks like a prison. Again, I was in a detention center. It looked more like stop, go back up, go back up. Oh my gosh, no. That was on airplane mode. Sorry. That one. Stop.
This one?
Nope, down. The orange plate.
That one. Okay.
It said take away the meat. That big piece. I think that's meat. That's it. Oh, like sometimes, like we got rice. There was a lot of turnips. There was a lot of rooty foods. You might get an egg. You might get some like kimchi or whatnot, what have you. I ate, and you get a mantou. You get a mantou roll, which is this white doughy bread that has no flavor whatsoever. But I just ate that and rice. Sometimes there was chicken in it. It was just like, yeah. But you got fed three times morning. It was the regiment and the boredom, because in the morning you had to wake up and you had to fold your blanket in a certain way. Like it had to be precise. Like, oh my gosh, they would police up and down. Like if you did not get it right, you had to take it apart and do it over and over. And that was the only time you were allowed to sit on your bed. could not sit on your bed throughout the day. And so unless you got like during the afternoon, they would allow some people to sleep. I was not one of those lucky ones. Well,
I guess that's the privilege you had to earn, the right to lay down.
Yes, literally. And so you had to fold it a certain way. And I remember I got so good that the policewoman told me to tell someone else how to fold their blanket. But I made sure I got good because that was the only time I was allowed to actually sit on my bed. That's it.
Did they have PE time? Like, did you get to go to the yard?
There was no yard. There was a little area where we could watch some type of Chinese movie. But there was a TV. There was a TV in the cell, and like for 15 minutes, more so towards the morning, they would have exercises. You know those promotional videos where it's like da 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 da. Yeah, so we all line up in a line and we would do those little exercises. And sometimes we would go out and watch TV, sometimes we would not. Didn't take a shower every day. That was unpleasant. And if you had to go to the bathroom, that container, you would take your lid and you would put it in front of you so no one could see you poop. And having a period was awful, but meh, it happened.
Yeah. So you'd have to squat over a bucket in your cell?
No. There was a toilet. There was a squatty potty. There's the Chinese toilet. No buckets. No buckets. This is civilized Shanghai society.
And you would have to hold you would have to hold something in front of you.
You didn't have to. You didn't have to because the way that the bathroom was made, it had a wall. It had two. It was in a corner, and then the wall came out, and it kind of came at an angle. So you can put the lid right against the wall and right against the corner wall. So you can have you put it there if you were modest. Some of them were not modest. Like some of the older IEs were just like, let's fuck it. Y'all know what I got. And pull out their pants and just like, I'm gonna go over here now. But the other ones, when you had things to do, would just put up a little modesty wall. You could hear everything, unfortunately, but man.
Wait, how far away were you from the person when they were pooping?
You couldn't reach out and touch somebody, but it wasn't that far.
Woo, I hope everybody watching learns to respect the laws of not only your country, but the country you're going to, or you may be pooping off the side of a wall with a garbage can topped in front of you. Wait, what color was it? Oh, no, I told you to take your hair down when you went in, right?
You told me to get my hair in braids, and I did.
Yeah, I told her. I didn't listen. I told her to braid her hair back because I didn't know what kind of facility she was going to. I didn't want somebody to grab her hair while she got into a fight or something.
Well, again, we're so used to our American way. A detention center. If America had detention centers for the lesser crimes, oh my gosh, what an amazing place it would be. Like for the lesser violations that no one really cares about, a detention center would be much better. I never got into the Chinese.
I heard my people like on a Western toilet. Wow. So
you know what? Funny thing, when my mom visited me, she actually used a couple of squatty potties. I was very proud of her. Very proud. I'm wondering if I can find this picture of me.
Picture somebody on a squatty potty in a Chinese prison?
Huh?
I don't want to picture somebody pooping.
No, you're not allowed phones. I'm talking about my hair. As soon as I got out, I went to Taco Bell. I was excited.
I thought you made a picture of somebody with that little thing in front of pooping.
Ew, gross. No.
So nobody got stabbed while you were in there?
No, it was just a bunch of old women and being cold because it was October. And they gave us summer clothes and it was cold. You weren't allowed to take the blanket once you folded it. So I remember like 3 days in, they switched out our clothes, so we had winter clothes because the wind was crazy. And then you had to wash your underwear in the sink and then hang it up on the bars to dry in the cold, and then you put them on in the morning and then Yeah.
I wonder if this conversation got me new subscribers. This is an interesting
Well, I have to say,
discussion.
the consulate was amazing because they called me. At the time, I had called somebody else, and he was annoying the fuck out of the consulate to the point that they gave me a call and they made sure that I was okay and stuff like that. So I had a lot of people looking out for me. I definitely had some angels around me. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
So no violence. You didn't have to be anybody's girlfriend for the week for protection or anything.
No. I did kind of stay to myself because I remembered what you told me, but it wasn't bad. Not saying that you should do it. Not saying that anybody should be like, it wasn't bad. I could try. No. Mm-mm.
I'm not trying. Nope.
I got a good cop. I got a good cop who took pity on me. I'm trying to see if I can find that picture that I took, because as soon as I got out, Taco Bell had just been open at Lujas Way under the metro. No, by the metro where you used to go. And so I went there. I got me a margarita. I got me some Taco Bell, and I was just like, yeah, I'm free. I was not like that. I was just like, oh my God, it tastes like freedom.
So you got out, and if I'm not mistaken, they said you had to go, right?
Yes, I had 7 days to leave, which I was out the next day. They could not stop me.
That just breaks my heart that you had to leave the country over that. But I mean, it's not like you didn't do anything. I mean, I just wish that you'd been able to leave more, just more amicably, and because of the time and love you invested in China.
Definitely.
Is there anything you wish you had done before you left?
Say that again?
Is there anything you wish you had done before you left China?
There's a couple of places that I wanted to go to, like the Shaolin temples. I had plans, like my grand scheme of things, which again, God laughs at you when you make plans, was to go to Thailand, learn my massage, come back to China, and go to university in Xiamen to learn Chinese. Because I was like, you know what, this tutoring center thing is not really working for me. I need structure. I need a classroom, and I just got to swallow my pride and take these little baby steps to get to the bigger steps so I can actually be proficient. I could get my certificate. I could be like, boom, bam, boss lady. But that did not work.
Are you not allowed to go back?
I am allowed to go back. I just have no desire to go back at this moment. I'm going to give it about a couple of years more because this was a while ago.
Okay. Well, I mean, the other thing I would say is, I would still say while you're out, don't let your Chinese Mandarin slip.
No.
Do something.
Mm-hmm. I talk to everybody I can. I constantly talk to myself in Chinese because I actually had a dream about one word I said in Chinese in a dream, and they say if you dream in a different language, you know it. I was like, I got one word, I got it. But no, everybody I talk to is just like, oh, 我可以说一点点，但是我的中国说不好。And they're like, 啊，没事，你的中国是很好。I was like, 不是，我没有老师，你要吗？我要老师，你是我的老师吗？It's like, oh, my Chinese is bad. It's like, no, your Chinese is good. It's like, no, I don't have a teacher. I want a teacher. So everybody, I'm talking to everybody because I tell people there's a lot that I don't know, but what I know. There's what I know very well, and I always talk to my students and I try to write for them, and they teach me things. I'm just like, yes, I'm learning Chinese because I can go to Taiwan, and I want to go to Taiwan. That'd be awesome.
So the last one of the things that people do when they learn different languages is watch different cinema. Do you watch a lot of Chinese cinema?
No, but when I was in China, I did. I watched some because Jackie Chan had just came back to China, and he had a couple of movies, and I was just like, yes, Jackie Chan. I did go to the movies a couple of times, and that was awesome.
The last thing I do as I leave Taiwan is have a boba tea pronounced Naisha. That and buns are my addictions in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Laura, thank you so much.
Oh, no worries. This is actually a lot of fun.
We want to look forward to you having your channel up and going. I encourage you not just to record videos. I encourage you to go live, talk for a while, listen to people. I'm sure I'll bring some viewers to you. Speaking to the people watching now, make sure everybody who's watching click the subscribe button and hit like. And for the people watching now, a lot of them are people that have been rocking with me for a minute, and I love and appreciate it. So I always ask you to send this out to your friends, get a few new subscriptions. We're at 811, and we're right around the corner for 1,000, which is a big milestone. So having said that, is there anything you want to say goodbye with?
Is there anything that I want to say goodbye with? Me and my production penguin always want to say goodbye. 再见，我爱你啊。
So I'll say this.
Goodbye.
So don't click off the video when I click off live, because I got some information for you. And as I said, anybody got contacts in Thailand or Japan, let me know so that I can get that information to her. Omega Dreads, you popped in at the end of the show, but back to the beginning after the YouTubers get done rendering this. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon. And everybody, let me know what you think about making sure that I'm going on live on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm doing this a little earlier than later on Thursdays, so that about 2 p.m. it'll be 2 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern. Well, 2 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and 8 p.m. Eastern on 2 p.m. Eastern on and 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. Everybody, let me know about that. And on that note, everybody have a great day. Bye bye.